Hi, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a few questions, mainly about what you spoke about in the panel and the regional issues surrounding Israel. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about what you think is the major challenge here?
As I mentioned in the panel, the main challenge in the region is the Iranian threats and other terrorist groups in the region. And I think we should work together, the Arab states, especially Sunni Arab states and Israel, to fight the Iranian threats, especially in the southern Syria. We are in Jordan very worried about the Iranian presence in southern Syria. 20 kilometers away from our borders. They are starting to establish bases there, and they want to strengthen their position in the Golan Heights or in the southern Syria. This is, I think, the first and foremost priority for Jordan and Israel this time. In addition to the fighting other terrorist groups like ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra and so on.
And it was just announced today in Israeli media that a new fence was being built on the Jordanian-Syrian-Israeli border. And this is a joint work between the Jordanians and the Israelis in an area where ISIS is. But like you said, the Iranian presence is something that is very worrisome to both Jordan and to Israel. Do you see the Iranians, their militias, perhaps even Hezbollah, coming in, taking over the land from Daesh, from ISIS, and that being the major threat?
Yeah, and it seems now that the Bashar al-Assad regimes regain or reoccupied most of the Syrian territory, and especially the southern Syria. There is around 20,000 fighters, Shiite fighters from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from Syria, from Iraq. They are working under the commands of Iranian. So those fighters will working to undermine the sovereignty of the two states, Jordan and Israel. I have no specific information about the fence, but I think if this fence building according to some coordination or approval from the Jordanian government, I think the Jordanian army know what he is doing in the southern Syria, and I think the Israeli strategy for the last 2 years didn't success enough to fight the Iranian or the Syrian, or to preventing Iranian to send arsenals to Hezbollah in Lebanon. So it's a very complicated situation, and I think we need to cooperate, to work together in this issue. And I think this is the first priority for Jordan and Israel now. And regardless of what's happening on the Palestinians-Israeli track, regardless of what's happening about the international arena, for example, for Trump declaration, this is urgent issues we have to work on, in addition to the status quo, maintaining the status quo in Jerusalem.
And if we can touch a little bit more on the Palestinian Israeli Trump statement, if you want, there was also Israel and Jordan. The relationship was a little bit on the back burner for over the summer because of the incident at the embassy. But right now it's warm, the ties are warming up again. But when it comes to the Trump declaration and the Palestinian issue, King Abdullah is very, very vocal about how Jordan supports the Palestinians.
Okay, you know, the Jordanian support for Palestine since 1964, since when they established of the PLO, and also in 1974 when they decided to be the only representative of the Palestinians. So our support to the Palestinians is from the beginning of the crisis, from the beginning of the conflict. But now we have to quantify our interests, because we in Jordan understand the situation and understand the Trump declaration. And I see personally, I am not in the position to talk about on behalf of the Jordanian government, but I see that Trump declaration still open to negotiation. He didn't put the end for all of this process, and the last or final boundaries for Jerusalem is still open to negotiations. If the Palestinians choose to cut off their relation with the United States, we cannot, because we will harm our economy. The Palestinian economy is very integrated to the Israeli economy, but in Jordan, no. When United States announced that it will cut off the financial aid to UNRWA. Even the Israelis officials say will harm our security. You do care about the Palestinians' economy. I'm asking who will do care about Jordanian economy. We have UNRWA running educational and medical service in Jordan. Who's talking about Jordan's economy? So we have to follow our interests. We have to continue cooperating and working with the United States regarding this issue.
And do you see any increased cooperation militarily between Israel and Jordan?
It's a very sensitive issue. I have no specific information, but what I have heard from the media and special sources that there is a high level of coordination between Israel and Jordan regarding security issues. As I mentioned in the southern Syria and other issues. But exactly, I don't have a specific information about what kind of cooperation or coordination between two sides, because it's military and security and it's very sensitive.
And what can you tell us about the feeling on the streets in Jordan about Israel, about the Trump declaration?
You know that the Jordanians were very angry about what happened, and they still believe that Jerusalem is for the Muslims only. But also we have, as I mentioned, we have to follow our interests. We have to realize the situation in the region. Jordan cannot do or working alone to fight all of this pressure in the region. And when the United States decided to, by the way, King Abdullah tried many times to convince Mr. Trump to postpone his decision to recognize Jerusalem, and also to postpone or to write the waiver for the moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. But Jordan alone, without Arab leagues, without collective approach, we will not success to prevent what happened in the month.
Thank you so much.